So my name is Jerome. However, I do have a name I go by as an artist, which is Arcane. So my practice primarily is drawing, but I do digital paint as well, and I learned to do that a few years back. So I do return to that quite frequently. Now I'm using more traditional materials. So I've tried oil pastel, I picked up ink, of course. My starting point was looking into ideas of self and Jungian theories, and then finding a way to characterize the concepts that he'd think of. So the persona and the mask and the shadow. And I think now I'm in a place where I'm thinking about the world around me, trying to find interesting and like esoteric ways of exploring and getting those ideas on paper. Hopes on what the drawing year would have on my practice was more about allowing me to loosen up more than anything, because prior to studying at the drawing school, I feel like I was developing quite a rigid practice as well. Like I needed to just be able to play a bit more. So that was one of my main focuses. Plus I was very aware that I didn't know enough. I needed to understand a few other things, especially when it came to like building an image and utilizing different materials and understanding how they interact with each other and learning more about relationships and materials. That was definitely something I knew less about than I do now. There was a few courses in along the year that I feel like was really helpful for me. Dilip's life drawing class was one, because Dilip just likes to push you further and further outside the box that you're used to being in. So that 10 weeks was really beneficial for me. Richard's lessons on world imagery was really good, because Richard is an absolute bank of knowledge, and I needed that sometimes. I needed something contextual to kind of send my mind somewhere. So that was really interesting and really helpful. There was one moment specifically when it was like, it might have been like 3 weeks in, we've done a lesson with Catherine and we're drawing the life model, and Catherine was like, Jerome, have you used ink before? And I was just like, no. She went and she got me a brush, she got me some ink, and she said, try this. So I tried it, and I kind of fell in love with it. I definitely say that was one of the biggest changes for me, because I was able to say more with one device, which is kind of the format I'm used to working in usually. But you could get, you know, broad strokes to harsh marks to thin lines with one thing. And for me, I think that was quite special and definitely a pivotal changing moment for me, I think, within my drawing. The whole thing surprised me. The entire drawing year surprised me, I can't lie. I didn't necessarily, like I said, I hadn't studied at any sort of traditional art institution at any given point, so I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I just knew it'd be an interesting place to be. The course being free and offering me a studio space for me personally was extremely important, because I was in a position where, could I have afforded to study again? Probably not. Like, life hits. So having the opportunity to go somewhere where they're like, you know, based on your portfolio, we will bring you onto the course, for me was quite important, because it gave me something to work towards in terms of having a strong portfolio, but two, getting onto the course means that, you know, I would be able to get taken further, and I didn't necessarily have to worry about financially losing out too much throughout the year. And I think that if anybody else is kind of and ahhing and they're second guessing their creative ability, just try it. There's people who applied more than once and, you know, got in on the third try and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's very cliche, but like, yeah, don't be afraid of it. Just go for it. Yeah.